Well, Apple closing lower, down almost 7% after dropping a bomb on investors in its earnings call yesterday. You might remember we talked about it here, revealing they will no longer disclose how many iPhones, iPads, and Macs that they sell after reporting flat unit shipments for the iPhone in the fourth quarter. Now, as concerns grow over slowing iPhone demand, Tesla's Elon Musk weighed in, as he usually does. I still use an iPhone and everything, but Apple used to really bring out products that would blow people's minds, and still make great products, but there's less of that. I don't think people are necessarily running to the store for the iPhone 11. Well, gang, it's not exactly a new comment, but Elon Musk saying it, does it make any difference?
You only need to follow Donald Trump and Elon Musk on Twitter if you're only going to follow two people. That is basically it. Apple's got problems right now. What can I tell you? What they're doing when they do this is they're saying, you know what, growth of this phone at $1,000, it's plateaued. That's what they've said. And you know what? It's because all these companies want to be public and raise the public money, but then they want to be private. And Elon Musk knows about this more than anybody. They don't want to deal with having to tell people everything that's going on with their business. They're not going to throw a hissy fit like Elon Musk did with his people. But, really, until shareholders revolt and send these prices down from the stratosphere, why overshare? The regulators, kind of give them a little pressure, but I don't blame them.
Jonas, I disagree with you and I disagree with Musk. It's easy to look at Apple and just see their products, just like it used to be easy to look at IBM and just see mainframes. That's not the growth part of their business, so he's right about that. Exciting products, it remains to be seen. I think there's still a lot of people buying iPhones, iPads, et cetera, et cetera. But the real under the covers that he's missing is one of their biggest businesses, maybe their highest margin businesses, their services, the Apple Care, the Apple Pay, the App Store, the Apple Music. That's a $9 billion business growing by 30%. That's where it's shifting to. That's the story I think Musk is missing, and a lot of shareholders also.
Gary, what happened to you? You used to be the one who was so to me, Apple is one of the more dangerous stocks to own right now. I mean, this to me is very much like Microsoft or Cisco was in 1999 and 2000. This was the stock that no one questioned, that everyone owned. It was in value funds. It was in growth funds. And today's move is really quite remarkable because Apple had been really one of the only. This isn't any company, guys. This is 4% of the S&P. It's 12% of the NASDAQ, I think 6% of the Dow Jones Industrial. As Apple goes, I think so goes the nation, or at least so goes the stock market.
Well, one thing I'll point out, Gary B., you mentioned the services business, like Apple Pay and the music subscription service. Revenue was up double digits, but it was growing slower in the most recent quarter than it has been recently. And then you start telling investors, hey, we're not going to break out all the different unit sales. And the question is obviously, what are you hiding? In terms of Elon Musk, good luck trying to out-jerk Steve Jobs because you can't do that. And by the way, Elon, you're just jealous because the revenue in the most recent quarter for Apple is actually more than the market cap of Tesla at this point.
If you're going to slam Elon Musk, explain why.
Elon Musk, I once interviewed, I was trying to interview him on television, and he took his mic off and left and said, I got to go to a meeting at Goldman Sachs. And you know what?
Don't cross this woman. 20 years later, she's going to smear you on your
Right. You know why? Let me just tell you that. It's just jerky move. And by the way, Elon, you make cars, buddy. It's not like you're making flying shoes.
He makes flamethrowers.
You know what? No, that's not a flamethrower. It's actually...
It's not a flamethrower. You had to say that to avoid regulation. It's a good point. Thanks for highlighting that.
Elon Musk on the Joe Rogan podcast, it removes roof tar. It's
Please
not even a
interrupt this
flamethrower.
before it goes bad places.
Let me address something that Jonathan said.
It's an electric car, big deal.
Can Gary get in, please? Thank you.
Let me address something that Jonathan said. Look, I'm well aware of the price action. I guess, Jonathan, as I get a little bit older, my charts tend to be a little wider in that I look at a longer time frame. Here you have a fantastic company. The difference between some of the companies you pointed out and Apple is that those were mostly one-hit wonders. By one hit, I mean
Cisco?
they had a core product and they made it. So companies that try to expand, like Apple, from hard, and I don't blame them for not having unit sales anymore, because that's saying, look, that's our old business. I don't know if the services business will be as successful as their
punished them
kind
today
of commodity
for that,
business,
Gary,
but
and
that's where they want to go.
The fact is that there are a lot of Market Watch had a headline today: when the going gets tough, Apple hides its numbers. And there are a lot of people wondering, okay, today they're hiding the unit sales. Maybe tomorrow they'll hide something else. They've got something to hide. That's not a good thing.
Still up 22% year to date.
Well, their competitors don't.
JDS unit phase was up a lot in early
don't post unit sales either.
Look, I am squarely between Gary and Jonathan on this one. It's not the iPod Shuffle that they can just make it disappear. The whole business is built around this phone right now, and I think investors should know how phone sales are going. Is that so ridiculous?
I'll just make the point. I'll just make the point that Intel in 2010 made more money than it did in 1999, but the stock traded at a much lower price. Because when you're buying a stock, you're really buying a valuation. A lot of people buy Apple saying, oh, it's not going out of business. Maybe not, but it ultimately might be in a bear market or a holding pattern for 3, 4, 5, 10 years or more.